It's Friday, June 5th, and this is your Hope Update. Last weekend, in the message, I shared a little bit from Genesis chapter 1, the creation narrative. And the part that I shared in particular, I want to revisit today. It's God going through creating everything, and then he says then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." So God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. It was kind of lost on me then, the import of those words, being that last weekend I was teaching about politics, and I was talking about giving unto Caesar what is Caesar's, giving to God what is God's. But the simple truth of that passage has been hanging with me all week long, that we are all made, we bear the image of God. And that sets us apart from everything else in all of creation, that we bear the image of God. But it's not any singular we, it really is kind of a plural we. I love that in Genesis it says, God made mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. And so we see in Genesis that in the difference of our created sexes, that there's something that each bears that gives testimony to who God is. That God's image isn't found in any one of us exclusively. It's found as we look around the world. And clearly, the image of God is also found in all the other differences we see in humanity across our planet. The image of God is not white, even though maybe a lot of the artwork I grew up seeing of Bible art made it look that way, that's how God's image was to be found. But it's clearly found in everybody. And as I think about what's going on in our world, this truth just has been speaking to me so clearly. I once heard a pastor say that you have never looked into the eyes of another person about whom God is not absolutely passionate. And so basically it means as you go through life, no matter who you're looking at, no matter how much they annoy you, no matter how valuable you see them, God is absolutely passionate about that person. But not only is that true, it's also true that you've never looked into the eyes of another person, you've never laid eyes on another person who does not testify, who does not bear in some way the image or the likeness of God. And so as I've been thinking about all the things that are going on, the important conversations that are happening in our world about race and equal treatment of people, this has also come to mind for me, that let's not just respect each other because it's the moral thing to do, because it's the right thing to do, because it's somehow what everyone in society is telling us that we should do, and everyone on Instagram, we're being preached at to do this. But instead, let's look at each other with respect. More than respect, let's look at each other with awe and reverence. Because as we look at each other, we have the ability in that looking to see something profound about who God is. When we look at each other, we have the opportunity to behold part of the image, the very glory of God. And so I want to encourage you as you look around the world, and that includes the people that you know really well. I do this sometimes with my kids. You know, I kind of just think they know what they look like. I know what they look like because I look at them all the time. Or my wife, I see her all the time. I don't know if you know what it feels like just to kind of look at someone with new eyes, or to study them for a minute, and to really see them. I'm going to encourage you to do that with the people who are close to you. I'm going to encourage you to do that with just anyone you come in contact with. Take a moment not just to glance at them, but to see them. And as you're seeing them, to truly behold what God is conveying through that person, that somehow he's saying something about himself, who he is, and about his created his created intention through the very face, through the very nature, through the very being of that person. He's saying something about his masterful creation. And I love doing that when I look around nature. I love what the Psalms say, that the heavens declare the glory of God, the earth declares his handiwork. But that's also true of us. And so apart from anything else, can we just begin to behold each other in a way that honors and respects, that feels a sense of awe about how we each give testimony to a creative God, yes, but how we each give testimony to the very image, the very likeness of the God who made us. Looking around the world differently, that gives me hope, because so often I go through life seeing things in the same way. And when I can see God's fingerprints all over the world, it reminds me that there's a greater purpose to all of this, and that God is in all, over all, and through all. And I hope that gives you some hope too. So before I sign off for this Friday, I want to let you know that I'm going to be gone next week, so there will be no hope updates this week. I will be around this weekend. We will be here in person for worship, same time. You can find out more on our website. We'll also continue to be online. This is a communion weekend for us, so we'll be serving communion in worship, and we've got new ways that we're going to do that, just in light of everything we're dealing with coronavirus. But I also want to let you know that we're still going to be offering communion to those of you who are joining us online and are still living local. If you don't feel comfortable coming here, that's okay. You can join us for communion through Drive Up Communion. We're going to shorten the window a lot because now our schedule's fuller. So it's going to be from 12:30 to 1 on Sunday morning after services are over. We'll serve you Drive Up Communion if that's something that you want to do and you're not coming here in person. So again, check our website for more information on all of that. But until we see each other again, keep seeing each other, mindful of what God is communicating about his glory, his image, his creative power, as we look deeply into each other's faces. And let's just behold each other with reverence, with awe, and with thanks. God bless.